Hey everyone, I'm back. Today we're going to talk about art journaling and art journal backgrounds. I'm going to show you the master art journal that I created for my daughter. She wanted to be able to have a journal to write or draw in, but she didn't really want to do the backgrounds, and she had asked me to create the background pages for her, which I gladly decided to do. I really like to be artistic. So a couple things here. This book was done specifically to be a master so that I could make copies so that she could have her own, and I would like to eventually branch out and probably try to sell some journals that have different backgrounds and create more backgrounds to have additional journals and that kind of sort of stuff. So I'm going to show you some of the tools that I used really specifically in this journal. These are my water brushes that I got off eBay. These are watercolor pencils, which are my favorite. I'm very comfortable using them. Micron pens, Sharpie markers, and a white Uniball pen and a silver Sharpie. So what I'm going to do is, as if a page has a different technique other than the watercolor pencils and that kind of sort of thing, I will let you know what that technique is. So this page is basically done with the Sharpies, colored Sharpies, markers, and that kind of sort of stuff. Just kind of a big doodle page to start off the cover page of her book. This page is also a design by some Zentangles that I created using some blues and greens. And I also want to note that throughout this journal that you'll see multiple designs. You know, some are my own that I just came up with, and some are spin-offs of an idea that I saw on some social media site. So I get variety of ideas from multiple places and things that I see, and just kind of make it my own. So here's some more little Zentangle stuff, but some simple waves of color where you can either just write in the lines or write over any of the pictures. I want this book to be so that somebody who may not be able to do the creative backgrounds that they want, or just don't have the time or their tools or supplies to do so, I want this book to be the outlet that they use to be able to use for writing or doodling or just getting things off their chest for whatever may be bothering them, their good day or their just planner or whatever they want to use it for. I like to do the backgrounds, and I really thoroughly enjoy it. So like I said, watercolor pencils and that sort of stuff. You've got some leaves looking things, some Zentangle designs. Another page just using some greens and stuff, greens and blues. I like the usage of the water brushes because it allows me to use as much or as little water on the pencils, excuse me, themselves, and I can really have a good flow of how I want really the texture of the color to look like. Here's another sunset-y with the over the water kind of thing. Just some lines with a bold Sharpie and little Sharpie, just some little circles, multiple colors usage of the watercolor pencils and the water brushes. Cute little city using the Uniball pen with the little smokestacks and the little circles and stars and stuff and whatnot. So this book I really hope people can use as an outlet for themselves to be creative, and I really hope people enjoy just looking at it or going through it and discovering a new page. A little fairy house with a background basis of red. Really wild colored page with just kind of random drawings, water droplets, multiple colored Sharpie markers and just regular standard markers. This is a watercolored paper, so it's nice and heavy cardstock, which I really like, and I'm hoping to transfer that kind of same quality paper when I do a another master book, and also when I have the replication made of this master book, so that my daughter could have a good quality. So you could use Sharpies or gel pens or any kind of sort of writing tool to transfer your thoughts or whatever you want to onto these pages. Little stars with the watercolors again. My daughter calls this the Fruity Pebble page. Lots of bright colors. The rainbow page using some Stampin' Up! Ink and some Stampin' Up! Stamp. White Uniball pen on the borders, just some little squiggles. This page was a really unique technique that I really enjoyed doing. It was a piece of plexiglass where I took a few random colored markers and just randomly scribbled all over this piece of plexiglass, and then I took a spray bottle and I sprayed directly on top of the markers and just kind of spread the color around, and what it created was this really tie-dye-ish looking color. But then when I flipped the book upside down and pressed it down onto the water droplets and the colored marker, and it came out this really cool tie-dye looking type page. So I did it twice. I did one on each side, and then I used my Sharpies to create the kind of flowery border for this page. This page was done with acrylic paints and the watercolor pencils and water brushes. I really loved the sky and how it transitioned to having some just really like waves of water, and how it dried. It just came out really, really neat. I really enjoy this one. This one's kind of a cutesy little fairy house kind of sort of thing. Just a, you know, free drawing and just having a good time and being fun. A very simple, very strong page. Love, you know. So this book, you know, I want people to enjoy themselves while looking at this. Not maybe even just to use or just look at the pages. This page is an I am page. It was kind of meant to have whatever you are, things about you all written down, the beams of coming off the major cloud of the I am. Write about you. This one's a Dare to Be Different page. I used the actual watercolor paints for this background and drew the birds in myself. So the page has a little bit of a roughness feel to it. This one was also done with watercolor paints for the background, and then I used the pencils for the flowers and the leaves. This page I used white crayon, did the background of the dandelion, very rusticy looking dandelion kind of heads and stems and grass. I used a white crayon, and then I took the watercolor paints and just randomly splashed color all over, and where the wax and the paint came together, they kind of separated and kind of left a really cool texture and a really cool design. This page was done with also watercolor paints, but as the paint was really wet and the pages were really damp, I took a salt shaker and just covered the page with salt. So, and then I let it thoroughly dry, and once it was thoroughly dry, I took my hand and brushed all the large granules of salt off, and it kind of gave it a really unique texture and some little speckles all through the paint as it was drying. And then I also took my hot glue gun and I wrote the words "believe." So this is three-dimensional on this page, so you can't write on that itself, but the rest of the page is totally something that you could write on. This page was done with acrylic paints, blue waters, light blue sky with white, black tree trunk with silver and white dots. Simple kind of serene type of painting. So this page was done with Dr. P.H. Martin inks, and what I did is I directly took the inks from the little droppers and I just randomly placed them throughout the page and just kind of let them do their own thing, and then I would pick the book up and kind of roll the page around and just kind of let it spread out the way it wanted to spread out. And once that was dry, I took my white Uniball pen, and then I created my mandalas and designs that were the hand drawing part. The rays of sun, this was another one to have on the rays, where you would write something or draw something in the rays or in the base of the sun, or whatever you wanted to do. Please, when people, you know, if I can get these out there, or, you know, I want people to be able to write over the entire page if they want to. The intent is not to like go around the design and be afraid to cover some of the stuff up. The intent of this book is just to be free and be creative and just let your mind go. Right here is a stencil page of gears, and here I used Marabou acrylic inks to spray, and I used a couple colors of blues and greens, and used just a regular stencil for this page. This page is done with Sharpie markers, colored Sharpie markers, and silver Sharpies, and I did the circles, and then I did the paints first. I layered the circles and just did random colors throughout the page, and then once those dried, I did the circle markings and the stars and the little white dots and stuff throughout the page. This page was done also with the Marabou spray inks. And what I did is once I sprayed it, I did some red and a little bit of orange on the bottom, and I used red, which is kind of, it's a little slight highlight into the wheels of the Zentangle in here. I also took a paintbrush while it was wet and kind of swirled through here. And so once it was dried, I kind of just hand drew in this kind of crazy design so that it was kind of just fell into how I painted with my brush strokes for this particular page. So, you know, you could write either just in here, or you could write over, like I said, the entire page. Just do whatever. It's all about whatever you want to do with this book. So this is kind of my Tree of Life page. This is the final page of the book. And it was also my final page of using my watercolor pencils and water brushes. I hand drew the tree myself. I just want people to know that this book is done to open your mind and open your creative juices and whatever you need to do to just get things off your chest, or write things or poems or whatever you want to do. I hope you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am also on Instagram at She's Got a Planner, and I'm on Facebook, She's Got a Plan. Look me up, subscribe to my channel, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's any questions or feedback, I'd appreciate your comments. Thanks, and have a great day.